Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, Billy Ho here, coming at you. NFL Championship Weekend. This is a preview of the two-game slate for DraftKings, and join the contest. I got one out there. There's 50 entries. Links in the description. Join the Discord. Links in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. That's always appreciated. First and foremost. Shout out to my Discord homies. I also have the preview article published, and that will be in the description. And I'll post all these in the comments so you guys can get to them really easy. Don't forget, coming out this weekend, I will probably have the PGA preview video and article for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am PGA style. So we're going to get into these two-game slates and see what we can figure out. Okay, we're going to take a look at the article first, just real quick. I wanted to give you guys, if you haven't already seen it, take a look at it. Just these two games, so it's a little bit of light reading for you, and I'll keep adding to it as we get injury news and updates and stuff like Patrick Mahomes. The big thing is the big flippage of this second game, back and forth as far as that injury goes. So we're going to get into the San Francisco and Philly game since that's a 3:00 game. So let's go. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, he looked really good beating up on the G-men last week. He put the baby to bed early, man. I'll tell you, he looked good, and I think he would have scored probably as many as he wanted, 40 DK points, whatever. So he's definitely a guy you're going to pay for if you want to pay up a couple bucks. And AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are the two guys, and then Dallas Goedert are your three rotational pass catchers. I don't think you need to go anywhere else unless you're really, really reaching. And on a two-game slate, it's not necessary, in my opinion. AJ Brown had a bit of a down week last week, so maybe people will be off of him. So I think maybe we can flip the script, kind of like Godwin and Evans, and whenever you have two elite receivers like this, they just suck. Sometimes they suck production from each other. So we might have a chance to get somewhere. And he did. I don't know when he injured it. He might have been in sometime during the game early or whatever. But he had a hip issue. So and once they got ahead, he might have just been kind of dialing it back and not really working as hard. He didn't want to re-injure himself with the game out of hand and all that. So he figured he'd let his buddy Devontae and Dallas get the love. So yes, I mean, 10 targets, 6 for 61 and a touchdown. And Goddard caught all 5 of his targets for I believe 58 yards, and a touchdown. So both of those guys look really good. And you can't play everybody. So, the prices are down. They're affordable. Goddard's only 4,100. And so if you wanted to, pivot off of Kelsey, who's 7,800, at your own risk, I largely pivoted off of him myself last week, and it almost cost me, but I got in there. So what we're looking at is those three rotational receivers with Jalen Hurts. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Jalen Hurts with his rushing ability, and I think you're going to see a little bit more of that as the playoffs progress. And now we're playing to get into the big game coming up here. So we are looking at Jalen Hurts. I wanted to see his rushing numbers. 34 yards rushing. He called his own number, rushing touchdown. So you could get back up here in the 60s, especially with San Francisco's aggressive defense. He'll get after it. So I like him. And I'll obviously have, if I played 3 lineups, at least one, if not 2, would be with him. The running backs, I don't really trust all that much. I called it last week. Miles Sanders did all the work, had 90 yards on 17 carries, no touchdowns. Both the touchdown, each touchdown, they had 3 rushing touchdowns. Boston Scott got one, Kenneth Gainwell got one, and Jalen Hurts called his own number. So they definitely vultured my boy Miles Sanders. He doesn't catch many passes, and he didn't get zero. He's had 1 target in the last few weeks, so you can't really count on that. I mean, he could get 100 yards and a touchdown here at 5,200, and you're fine. So he's a if you don't play Jalen Hurts, you should probably think about playing Miles Sanders, because if the situation is reversed, then Miles Sanders gets a touchdown or maybe 2, and then that's going to be 2 less that Jalen Hurts gets. So that's game theory right there. Now, moving over to the San Francisco side, we are going to look at Brock Purdy. I don't think I'm going to get there. I said I wasn't going to do it last week. I wasn't chasing that 37, and it paid off because he didn't crack 10. And obviously, that Dallas game was a muckety muck, and he faced a lot of pressure. He might even face more pressure. So, what I'll be doing in this game is putting in this 49ers, or I mean, excuse me, Eagles defense. I think I might go all in on Eagles defense, to be honest with you, because I think this might be where old Brock Purdy, even though he didn't score a lot, he still has yet to throw an interception in the last 3 weeks, and he doesn't have any fumbles. So I think it might be time for him to maybe have a turnover or 2 in this game. And of course, there's turnovers that come from other directions and whatnot. So I like that. Now, CMC, Christian McCaffrey, and Eli Mitchell. They're keeping it kind of close to the vest on what's going on with these guys. Won't practice in Thursday's practice, calf injury. I mean, I'm probably he's gonna go, but I just don't know quite how effective he'll be. So that's the problem. Do you want to pay 8K to find out? Most people will, I think. I think they'll go McCaffrey. Eli Mitchell is also pretty cheap, but he's got a groin. So I don't know if that's going to cause any issues or not. Groins are a lot different. He had 14 carries for 51 yards. Wasn't terrible at 4,700, but he didn't get much action at all, and that was a tough Dallas defense. So that was the only thing that was tough about him was the D. But that's where you're landing on. And if Mason, if something happens with Mitchell, Mason might be a punt at 4K min price. Then you get over to wide receivers, and the ones I do kind of like their wide receivers. Deebo Samuel, obviously, he's going to have more success versus these Eagles DBs than either of those Giants wide receivers, just because he's a more talented guy. He's bigger and stronger, and he can fight with these dudes. So I don't think he'll have any problem getting down, but he's questionable. And so he's got that. Well, that was an ankle. He got past that the week before, so I think he'll be okay. Brandon Ayuk is the one at 4,400. If he wasn't so cheap, I would probably not play him. I do normally like to play him, but he's going to be facing Darius Slay most likely, and that'll be a really good matchup. So, it's matchups sometimes don't matter. Wide receivers usually know where the ball's going, so they got the slight advantage there. But the guy I really like is Jennings, 3,300. He's the slot receiver. And like I said with Richie James last week, which I was 100% correct, Avonte Maddox, if he misses again, there's another backup. So, and Jennings is a pretty quality receiver. And honestly, I know he only got 2 targets, but he got 5 the week before. He caught 2 for 41. He's due for a touchdown. All he needs is a touchdown, really. 3,300. He catches 3 passes for 40 yards and a touchdown, and there you go. You're good to go. No quiz for me, thanks. The only other Kittle or not the Kittle, it's tough, man. I mean, he caught all 5 targets for 95 yards. That's awesome. He made the big catch that sealed the game. But touchdown dependent, most likely, like most tight ends are. And he could throw in a touchdown here. He's playable, obviously. 5,200 is a discount. So they made everybody playable and cheap. So this game will be a pretty good game. Philly is a 2.5 point favorite, 46.5 total. I should have said that in the beginning. My apologies. But I think if I do anything in this game, it's going to be a Hurts, probably Brown, Goddard stack, and then run it back with maybe Debo or Jennings, most likely Jennings. That way I can save some salary for the next game, which is the one I really, really want to get down on, is this Cincy Kansas City game. And while the flipping the script, right? The I believe when high ankle sprain and all that, all the money went on Cincinnati, so it went from Kansas City slight favorite, and then it flipped right back when Mahomes was a full participant in practice Wednesday. I still don't know. A high ankle sprain, you can really still do some serious damage running around on a high ankle sprain just because it feels okay and you take a pain injection. So I hope he's not risking any kind of permanent career type stuff here for just this season, because he's going to have 10 to 15 more seasons with a great team and a great coach to win Super Bowls. So I don't know. Henny is 5K. He looked great. He came in and led him down the field, a 98-yard touchdown drive, and then they pulled him. What I thought they should have done was let it ride. And then if they started getting in trouble in that game, they could have put Mahomes back in. But he let Mahomes do the dictating on what was going to happen. So I'm not playing Mahomes. He's 7,600. Just give me Jalen Hurts. I'm not risking him limping around. And especially if somebody steps on his ankle or something, he's going to be out of the game. So the risk is way too high in that, unless you're playing like 150 GPP guys, you can play some Mahomes that way. But if you're playing single entries and three maxes, I'm not risking it. Now, running backs, McKinnon suffered just like a few other pass catchers did with the injury to Mahomes limping around. So he didn't get as much work. He might get a little more work now because in order to throw, he's going to have to, my boy's going to have to move quickly, right? Because he's limping the pass rush. He's going to have to limp, throw, get rid of it quick. Kelsey is going to get 100,000 targets. So you can play him fine. Pacheco was the one that actually benefited from the injury. He got 12 carries, 95 yards. He didn't get the DK points, but he really helped them win the game. So I think that gives a big confidence boost to him. And they were calling him a wrecking ball and a hammer and all this stuff. And I thought the dude's like 5'10", 215. I mean, he's not small, but he ain't huge either. So I don't know. It's kind of funny. But obviously over here, just roll the dice. There's none of these wide. Tony is my guy, 3,700. He's the most talented wide receiver they got. He gets carries. He only got one carry last week for like 14 yards. I wish he would have got a few more, but it is what it is. But he got 7 targets. So Tony's going to be in the lineups for sure. He's going to be an obvious play for me if you want a double stack or whatever. If you do end up playing Hurts, you got guys like Tony, and then you got guys, moving over to the Bengals here in just a second. I don't think I'll go. I might go Bengals D though. That could be 2,300 if you don't have the salary. That's definitely, it's Eagles and it's Bengals. Period. I'm not taking a chance on the Chiefs doing anything with Burrow. He's humming too good. And speaking of Joe Burrow, Joe Cool, Joe Nice, Joe Noyce, Joe Get Her Done, Joey Bag of Donuts, Joey Potato Salad, whatever you want to call him. He's got, oh, I cracked myself up. Anyway, he's really good, right? 23 of 36. I mean, they just mud stomped the poor old Bengals. And he got ripped off for a touchdown. We'll get to that in a second when we get to my boy Chase. So 20 points is not bad, but it was one of the best scores of the weekend because none of the quarterbacks did anything over the weekend last week. So with Mahomes hobbled, and you got Jalen Hurts and Purdy. So, Burrow and Hurts is going to be the two guys, and they're right around the same price. So that's going to be the two main quarterbacks. And Joe Mixon, I don't mind stacking him with him The only thing I worry about with Joe Mixon is if you look at my article, that's one of the first things I did mention with reference to Mixon was Alex Kappa and Jonah Williams, two offensive linemen, are not practicing. They're injured right now. So that may affect, but it didn't really last week because I believe both of them left the game. If I'm not mistaken, I know one of them did, and they just put two other guys in, and they were just still running all over the Bills. So, but that was in the snow, and that was against the Bills. It's different situations. We'll see what we see. But Mixon's going to be super popular. He had a great game, 100 yards and a touchdown. I think was what it amounted to. Let's confirm that touchdown. Yes, touchdown. So he's in play. I don't mind stacking him. If I didn't say that before, don't mind stacking him with Burrow. I don't know. Let's see. He got only three targets last week, but he has had 6, 7, 9 targets. He can get involved in the passing game. If you want to punt, you can try P. Ryan. I don't think he's going to get. He got 5 for 5, so he was pretty decent last week. But they had a big lead, so he got a lot of extra work. Don't know if you'll see that this time around, but it's possible. Edwards Hilaire looks to be still on IR. Ronald Jones didn't get any love. Now, wide receivers for the Bengals, obviously it's Chase, number 1 with a bullet. So he's going in your lineup if you're playing Burrow. So we'll start a little Burrow stack action here, and we'll get this Chase. I don't think I'll be playing Chase and Higgins together because they don't both seem to get there. Like last week, it was Hurst. You might want to send besides the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a Hurst. I love that. My dude should have had a second touchdown too, but Burrow overthrew him and it tipped off his fingers. So it could have been a monster day for old Billy Ho, but hashtag my DFS life wasn't meant to be. Now Higgins will get some play from me this week. I do believe in one lineup because I think he's not due, but I think he can be more involved if they just shift all the coverage over to Chase. T. Higgins, maybe they'll just say, let T. Higgins run wild. Chase is the one that's going to kill us. Chase is the one that's going to get 70-yard touchdowns. Chase is the one moving the chains. T. Higgins, we'll let him have those 8 to 12-yard out patterns, and then maybe T catches 7 for 70 and a touchdown, and then you're good to go. I mean, you can go Chase and Higgins together, but I don't like that. I like the tight end Hurst again, but I don't know if he'll get the same repeat. But he's gotten 5 or 6 targets in almost every game he's been back off the injury block. So why not? It's not like super juggernauts the Kansas City Chiefs are. Now Kelsey, obviously you just plug him in the flex. You play Hurst and Kelsey if you want a 2 tight end set it. But Kelsey is basically a wide receiver, so you could play him in the flex. That's where I would almost recommend playing him because you got Kelsey, you got Hurst, you got Goddard, you got Kittle. So if you would really be sucking it up if you play Kelsey, especially since it's the later game, he can go in the flex just fine. And there's not a ton of running backs that we're going to want to run out there. So, unless you want to play an extra wide receiver, that's what you do. So anyway, I think that's going to do it. I don't need to, wax poetic all day on this, but I do love me some Joe Burrow. Go Bengals, Houday. So Burrow and Hurts are going to be my 2 main plays in the stacking realm. So I'll probably just do a 3 max and then do flip a coin and do 2 Burrows and 1 Hurts or 2 Hurts and 1 Burrow, one or the other, and then stack from there, fill in the pieces, mix and match, and try to win some money. So until the next video, which, like I said, will probably be the Pebble Beach Pro-Am preview video this weekend before the game starts Sunday, give you something to watch because the tournament ends Saturday, PGA-wise. So until then, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.